Hi, this is Joe Allreed from Scry Magazine, and you're listening to Radio Free Decipher.
Hello, welcome to another installment of Radio Free Decipher. This is Evan Lorenz, back in Norfolk after the long trip at Dragon Con. Normally Kyle Hoyer would be with me, but he is taking some well-earned vacation time after the convention, so I'm going to be bringing you some more information. First, of course, a wrap-up of the convention. Those of you who weren't at Dragon Con missed a very good show. We hope to catch up with you later in the season. Events at Dragon Con included the Young Jedi Open Championship that was won by Carl Etheridge, the Star Wars Open Championship won by Clint Hayes, and the Star Trek Championship won by Ray Lacey. We also had the Dragon Con pre-release event for Death Star 2 that had over 140 players all involved in a competition there for a complete set of Death Star 2. That went over very well. Of course, there was also news back here in the office while we were away. We were able to confirm the release date for Death Star 2 on July 19th. So those of you who have been long waiting for that set, the wait will soon be over on July 19th. This, of course, means that we will have the opportunity to offer one more pre-release event for Death Star 2, and that will be at Origins. So those of you who want to get one more chance in to play with those cards before the street date, Origins is the place to do it. This will also mean that on July 19th the cards become street legal in all tournaments. This includes in the San Diego events and in all regionals that run that following weekend. So if you have a regional on July 22nd, you are going to want to pay attention to how Death Star 2 is going to affect your decks. You will have to account for it, and you are able to use it. So now I'm going to turn to some questions that we received from Radio Free at Decipher.com. Few people have written in to ask things such as, Stuart Marsh writes, will we be seeing any additions or enhancements to Infiltration in the Trouble with Tribbles? The answer to that is actually not very much. The Infiltration mechanic is dealt with on the side. There are a few cards that deal with it. Of course, you've seen Arn Darvin on the website already. Homefront should be going up today, and both of those touch on the periphery on Infiltration, but there wasn't much of an opportunity. It was already a very full expansion set with all the material from the original series, and there just simply wasn't enough space to give a lot of attention to Infiltration, so that may be something you see in a future expansion set. An anonymous writer writes in two questions about Origins. First is one regarding the street date, which of course I have now already answered. The street date is July 19th, and tournaments after that street date, it will be immediately legal for use in those tournaments. The second question is, for conventions, are there going to be any team tournaments for Star Wars? There has not yet been anything posted on the website about team tournaments at the cons. The answer to that is yes. Both Origins and San Diego are going to have team tournaments for all of our three major games. That's Young Jedi, Star Wars, and Star Trek. So if you've got a team together, want to bring them out to the events and try and compete for a top honor team, there are definitely going to be takers. We're also looking at having team events at other conventions, including Wizard World and Gen Con. In fact, there may also be a special team event that is using just the Endor and Death Star 2 environment for the Star Wars players, but more information about that a little later. Turn to another question here. I have from Hiram S.A., who writes to ask, I understand the new pre-constructed starter decks from the Trouble with Tribbles expansion set will include cards from previously released expansion sets, and that some of them will feature revised game text. Do you have any plans to re-release other cards with revised game text? The answer to that is yes. Whenever we have the opportunity to reprint a card that has received revised game text, we will always implement that new game text. So for example, in the Star Trek Reflections product that will be around a little later this year, we will take the opportunity to implement some reprints, some revisions of game text and errata on those cards. For example, if Major Recall was going to receive a foil version in the Reflection set, and that is not necessarily a clue, it would receive revised game text, making that card a version of the Deanna Troi persona. Also, Hiram writes and asks, do you plan to release white border edition cards from Alternate Universe, Q Continuum, First Contact, and any other out-of-print expansion sets? The answer to that is no at this time. We do not have any plans to reprint white-bordered versions of those sets. A number of our distributors or retailers do still have the out-of-print sets in stock, like Blaze of Glory and First Contact. So at the time, there is still a fair amount of stock out there and not as much demand for white-border versions of those sets. If that should change in the future, we'll certainly revisit that issue and see what is necessary. Also, a number of people wrote in asking for information on, of course, release dates for The Trouble with Tribbles and for Enhanced Menace of Darth Maul, and I thought I would take a moment to cover those two products. For The Trouble with Tribbles, we are not able to confirm a release date at this time. We can tell you that the product is being printed right now. There are several steps of the printing process for Tribbles. These include packaging of both the boosters and the boxes themselves, includes printing of starter decks, booster packs, and the 4-player game. So there's a lot of different elements, and not all of them have completed the printing process yet. So it's still a little bit too early to give a firm release date on that. The chances of there being a pre-release event at Origins in San Diego obviously is not very likely. So sorry for a bit of a disappointment there for Star Trek fans, but it will be worth the wait, of course, when the set does finally arrive. As for Enhanced Menace of Darth Maul, there is also no release date yet for that product. That is past the printing stage and is now on to packaging. It turns out packaging for one of the enhanced products is actually a very time-consuming process. Most of the elements of that product have to be assembled by hand. Each and every Enhanced Menace of Darth Maul pack that you open is probably been hand-assembled in large part by somebody in our warehouse, number of people involved in that process. So we are still in the process of creating enough product to be able to release that. So no release date for that at this time. And that'll about wrap it up for this short installment of Radio Free Decipher. But if you do have any questions you would like to try and have us answer, you can write them to radiofree@decipher.com. We will be on the road in the following weeks, going to Origins in San Diego, and we hope to see you there. And until next time, this is Evan Lorenz. Have a good weekend.